right, everybody, we're back. Issues with the presentation, but I'm back. So this is a Love Ministry broadcast, and it's Minister Johnson. It's an outreach broadcast, and the broadcast that we're going to be talking about this morning, we'll be talking about the Fourth of July safety tips, as well as the Delta variant that's out there. So let me get some water. Alright, everybody, let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen again. So we're going to be doing this for the next 45 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and start showing some content about the 4th of July. We're going to start off with the 4th of July safety tips. Okay? So, the 4th of July safety tips. Did you know that you have 20% higher chance of being in a deadly car accident during the independent holidays than on a normal day? Because people are running crazy and mad trying to get to their destination. The 4th of July is usually filled with barbecue, fireworks, and time with friends and family. But this is in the article talking about Ohio State. But the Ohio State Highway Patrol wants to remind everyone who plans to travel this weekend to be cautious. So you have to be very vigilant. AAA estimate that 47.7 million Americans are planning to travel by car between July 1st and July 5th. It's expected to be the second highest amount of travels on the record of an Independence Day weekend. Most people also die in drunk driving crashes in July than other months, according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Association. Driving longer distance and alcohol could play a big factor and crashes. So here are some tips to stay safe if you're going to be out of town on the road. OSH also remind you to buckle up for safety. Do not drive and put the distractions away from your safety arrival to your destination this holiday weekend. So basically what they're saying, ladies and gentlemen, is just be safe. Because people was out there driving crazy out there yesterday when I was just running around doing my daily routine. So be vigilant, be mindful, pay attention. I know a lot of us love to have our music on and whatever else we like to do when we're driving. But I'm telling you, you need to be goddamn 411, 211, and just be like driving like Miss Daisy. I don't care, y'all can laugh if you want to, but I'm being serious because you gotta pay attention to the person on the left, person on the right, person in front of you, and also in the back. So you gotta have all your eyes everywhere. And turn that radio down a little bit. But if you can multitask and have the music playing, or this and that going on, and also too, don't be texting and driving this holiday or any other time. Because that's a lot of things that people do with that texting and driving. You're texting and driving and they ain't paying attention. You done hit somebody. And this weekend gonna be real crazy. Luckily, I only have a few things to do today. But I'm very vigilant and paying attention to what's going on around me. Most of you know my story. I was in a car accident last year. So somebody right here behind me. And to be honest, I never noticed that people come so fast when you're at a red light. But now, Marco will be watching, boy. A mother hit that thing and they know people be driving so fast, right? And then all of a sudden you see this car just come out of nowhere, and now I look at my rear view so quick, I pull that car up so quick, and I have a habit of that now, to pull the car up and break it, so that way if I gotta make some maneuvering changes, I'll be in a defensive driver and try to wing it the way I can. So I'll be very on defense when somebody will come behind me because of that accident last year. I'm dead serious. I always pay attention to the left and the right in front of me, but that back now, oh yeah. And I'm guilty. I didn't pay attention because normally people don't pay attention to people behind them driving crazy. You just unexpectedly, but now I got that other sense of make sure you pay attention to people driving in the back. You see what's going on there and there and there, but you need to pay attention to the back. And that's what I do now. All right, everybody, so let me go ahead and stop sharing my screen. We're going to try this again. We're going to do another thing. So we're going to be back and forth, everybody. All right, hold on. So now the next one we're going to talk about here is, hold on, give me a minute, everybody. Good morning to all who's tuning into this webinar. We're going to talk about the 4th of July safety tips. This is the ones who's dealing with the fireworks and whatnot. So here we go. This is just a random lake out of another state, but you get the concept, everybody. So the 4th of July safety tips. So having safe 4th of July Between the barbecues and the fireworks shows, the 4th of July is also filled with fun. But along with these fun comes the risk of injuries for you and your family. Here are some tips to make sure your celebration goes off without a bang, unless it's fireworks. So here's the 5 safety words. Most say you're like the Smokey the Bear from back in the day. No, but this is some stuff you need to pay attention to. There was an incident that happened, I want to say quite a few years ago on Clematis. Most of y'all may have heard about that, where somebody had shot a gun in the air and a lady had ended up getting hit by that bullet. So this is, yeah, for real. Most of y'all may have heard about that, and this is why you have to be very careful when you're out there with your loved ones. I know those who love the fireworks and those who don't love the fireworks, but you have to be attention because the bullet has no name. When that thing goes up in the air, it can land anywhere. So you have to be very mindful and be very careful when you're out here on the date of 4th of July, the day before and after, because people just go crazy. So here's some safety tips. Do not give fireworks to small children. Never point fireworks towards people, animals, vehicles, or structures. Follow the instructions on the package. Keep a bucket of water or hose close by because it can cause a fire. Light only one firework at a time. Don't feel like you a doggone thing like they be doing over there in Clematis and all these other major outlets, Clematis and the city and who else? Delray and all those other places that's doing the fireworks shows. Don't be a professional. Just stop. Never attempt to relit a dud. So basically something that's already been initiated. Don't redo that. Store fireworks in a cool and dry place. Pool safety. So for those who you're gonna be doing the pool thing. Did you ask your guests to bring their swimming trunks to a party? While swimming around in the pool is fun for every member of the family, it can turn into a danger quickly. From sparring, concussions, broken bones to accident drowning, it's important to stay safe while enjoying the pool this summer. Ensure you keep having fun in the sun. So now we done went to the safety part of it. Now we're finna get down to the food part of it. So the things that those who are in the pool, never leave a child attended, never swim alone, make sure everyone in the pool knows how to swim, enter the pool feet first, not head first, don't mix swimming and drinking alcohol, that's not a good mix. Be mindful of the weather and stay on land if the storm is there. So that's the pool safety. Now we're going to talk about the food safety. A great barbecue is a quintessence of 4th of July event, but if the food is left out for too long, your barbecue bash can turn into a disaster. Food can spoil more easily in the hot weather, making proper food preparation essence. Use these tips to ensure your summer food is safe to eat. First, avoid cross-contamination. Wash your hands and surface frequently with cooking. Cook your food to the right temperature. Refrigerate your food quickly after use or eating. Also remember to be careful while using your grill to prevent burns. So these are some of the safety tips to pay attention to for those who are going to be barbecuing this upcoming weekend. Don't be mixing this and that together because it's going to cause cross-contamination, which can lead to salmonella. You always have to wash your hand because you're touching different foods. In terms, you may be making potato salad, ribs, chicken, hot dogs, hamburgers, whatever you may be cooking on the grill. You don't want to mix all that because it's not going to be a good situation. And make sure you have proper temperature on your food, especially if you're cooking different type of meats and whatnot. And also, too, make sure you refrigerate your stuff. What I would say for potato salad, if you're going to do that from experience now, is when you do make your potato salad, make sure you cool off the potatoes and mix it together and then put it in the refrigerator right away so that way it can be nice and cold when you're getting ready to prepare it. And when you're done serving it, put it back on the refrigerator so you can have it for another time. With ribs, same thing. Cool it off. Make sure you wrap it sealed tight. Chicken, all those things. Make sure you just wrap your food properly and have it in separate dishes or have it in separate places so that way it don't be this and that, cross-contaminating each other or cause somebody to catch a reaction, whatever the situation may be. With grills, be very careful with grills because every grill is different. You may have a grill that's a gas grill. You may have a grill that's an electric grill. You may have a grill that's that you have to put coals and lighter fluid in it. And make sure you read the instructions when you're working grill, especially if the first time you grilling and you ain't never experienced this before. And I'm going to tell you and give you some tips about grills. Okay. Now I don't know anything about electric or gas grills, but I do know about the grills where you got to put the coals in. Now, if it's your first time grilling, now pay attention now. This is what I learned from experience from my own self. Now, if you haven't used the grill in X amount of months, or you haven't used it ever, make sure that the grill rack is clean. So what you want to do is, of course, you put your coals on there, right? And you have those coals that are already initiated where you just go ahead and put a match in it and it just stirs it up. And then you have those colds where you have to put the lighter fluid in there, and sometimes you have to put paper in there to kind of get it going. But be careful now. You don't want to get too happy with the lighter fluid because it's going to go like that. And you don't want to get burned. I'm just saying. So what you want to do is, once it get all hot and the cold become white, then you can eventually put your meats and stuff on there. That way you know, and you make sure you flip it, and also too make sure you don't want the coals to lose its fire. So then you got to put some more lighter fluid. Then you got to put some more chips in to initiate the fire again, so they can continue cooking. But you have to make sure your fire don't go out in your grill. Okay. All right, the next one. Summer emergency care in Dallas. Well, some emergency care in Palm Beach County. So be vigilant, be protected, be aware of your surroundings, make sure you're doing the best you can and hoping that everything works accordingly. And make sure you have the local phone numbers, hospital, all of this stuff, because accidents happen unexpectedly, everybody. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. We're going to share another presentation. So I think I did 3 slides of this already. So we done went through the 4th of July safety techniques. Let's see, everybody. Hold on. Okay, we're going to talk about those who are traveling for the holidays on the highways. Okay, so we're going to talk about domestic traveling during COVID-19. Now, we're getting into that. So if you are taking an airplane, a train, a car, or whatever you may be taking, it said delay travel until you're fully vaccinated. If you're not fully vaccinated and must travel, follow the CDC guidelines. Again, 6 feet apart, social distancing, wear your mask, wear your gloves, whatever you have to do. Hand sanitizer, still practice the same practices we used last year. Don't just backslide because everything's starting to go back to normal somewhat. Still practice these things in your life, because a lot of people are not vaccinated. You have to protect yourself. People who are fully vaccinated with the FDC authorized vaccination or vaccine authorization for emergency use by the World Health Organization can travel safely within the U.S. That is true, but you still have to be careful. CDC will update these recommendations as more people are vaccinated, as the rate of COVID-19 changes and additional scientific evidence becomes available. This guidance applies to travel within the United States and the U.S. territories. Recommendation for fully vaccinated people. If you are fully vaccinated, take this following step to protect others when you travel. Wear a mask over your nose and mouth is required, definitely. Planes, buses, trains, and other form of public transportation traveling into, within, or out of the United States while indoors at a U.S. transportation hood. So you have to be careful. So you're traveling in different places. So you want to make sure you master. You want to make sure you're clean. You want to make sure you're protected, because a lot of people, like I said, are not vaccinated. So you don't know who has what. Sad to say. And then after traveling, make sure you monitor your symptoms of COVID-19. And they also recommend in certain places that you isolate yourself at great testing if symptoms develop. So you may want to, get yourself retested and make sure you didn't contract COVID-19 while traveling all these different places. And if it comes back good, then you're good. But you still have to monitor the symptoms, everybody, because you just never know. And you have to follow all state and local recommendations or requirements. So whatever your state may recommend, you have to abide by that. Most people don't, but trust me, it'll save your life in the long run. You don't need to get tested or self-quarantine if you are fully vaccinated or have covered from CD90 in the past 3 months. You should still follow other traveling. For me, I can agree with that, but I can't agree because you can be fully vaccinated and all of a sudden you come up with these symptoms. And most of y'all may have seen videos of people around who have gotten the vaccine and still end up with COVID-19. So I personally recommend you should just get tested, just a precaution for yourself. So in the back of your mind, okay, I know I'm vaccinated, but at the same time, I'm around all these people. I want to make sure I don't come back positive. Well, I got to self-quarantine. So think about what Remarkable is saying. Just a food for thought. Recommendation for unvaccinated people. If you are not fully vaccinated and must travel, take the following steps to protect yourself and others from COVID-19. Before you travel, get tested with the viral testing, which is 1 to 3 days before traveling. While you're traveling, wear a mask over your nose, a requirement, like for the ones, so like they said, for the ones who vaccine, they're going to talk about the ones who unvaccinated. So the same protocol requirements, and they said wash your hands often or use hand sanitizer with at least 60% alcohol. After traveling, get tested and make sure you haven't contracted anything, and self-quarantine for 7 days after travel. Now, these are the guidelines for those who are unvaccinated. If you test negative, stay home and self-quarantine for 7 days. If you test positive, isolate yourself to protect others from getting infected. If you didn't get tested, stay home and self-quarantine for 10 days after traveling. Avoid being around people who are at increased risk of severe illnesses 14 days, whether get tested or not. Self-monitor for COVID-19 symptoms, isolate and get tested if you develop symptoms. Follow all the state and local guidelines and all the different things, and just be very vigilant, everybody, during this 4th of July holiday weekend. So now we're going to turn tunes in a minute, but just be vigilant by what is going on, because a lot of people are vaccinated, a lot of people aren't vaccinated, and you still, just to be honest, on the safe side, if you are vaccinated and you're around a lot of member crowd, you don't know who is what. They say it's safe, they say this and that, but I'm telling you, just get yourself tested to have a peace of mind, because people who have been vaccinated have contracted COVID-19 after they got the vaccine, and I'm just going to put that out there. Seriously, if you've seen movies, videos, or news tabloids, somebody who have gotten the shot end up catching it. So I recommend that you get tested if you've been exposed with an amount of people. You'll be good, but in the back of your mind, you already know, like, you know what, let me go get tested just to be extra sure that I didn't contract it or caught it. And those who aren't vaccinated, you still have the same protocols too. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen again, and we're gonna switch gears, and we're gonna talk about the Delta variant, because a lot of us have been hearing about this on the news, ladies and gentlemen, and this is serious. A lot of different places have this going on. So we're gonna start off, let me see, we're gonna start off with, give me a minute, everybody, because there's a lot of content here. I'm gonna start off with this one right here. Okay. All right. The Delta variant is forcing outbreaks around the world. Do vaccine works against it? So this is the email that I received in my inbox this morning. Well, it was like about 17 hours ago, but I came across this and I wanted to add it to the platform. A more contagious variable of coronavirus known as Delta is spreading in the United States and around the world, causing a surge of cases in some countries and prompting several nations to introduce new lockdowns. The Delta variant, which was first identified in India, now counts for 25% of new COVID-19 cases in the United States and is on track to become the dominant version of the virus circulating in the country, according to the Center of Disease Control and Prevention. In news brief last week, Dr. Anthony Fauci, the nation's leading infectious disease expert, the director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease, called the Delta variant the great threat to eliminate COVID-19 in the United States. Here is what knows so far about the Delta variant. What is the concern? Let me get this screen off. Oh, we actually might look at this video too, since it's sitting right there. The Delta variable was declared a variable of concern by the World Health Organization in May. This designation is used when there is increased evidence that the variable is more transmittable, causing more several illnesses or reduce the effectiveness of the vaccine or treatments. In the United States, the CDC declares Delta variable as a concern on June 15th. Researchers suggest that the Delta, often known as the B.16172, is the most contagious of all knowing variables today, including the highly transmitted Alpha variant that was first identified in Britain. Public health officials in the United Kingdom, where Delta accounts for more than 95% of the new COVID-19 cases, have said that the variable could be 40 to 60% more transmissible than the Alpha variable. Through scientists are ongoing. One of the ways epidemiologists determine the transmission of new variables is to examine what's known as the second attack rate. This involves tracking the close contact of people who have been infected with different versions of the virus and seeing how many others test positive. Let's say you have 10 people with 20 close contacts, said Dr. David Dower, an associate professor of epidemiology at Johns Hopkins Bloom School of Public Health. With one variant, maybe you will see 5 of those close contacts get infected. If a second variable is 50% more transmissible, the numbers would be 50% more higher. And more transmissible, the numbers will be 50% higher. So in this case, you would expect 7.5, let me see if I can get longer, 7.5 of those contacts to be infected after accounting for vaccine status and whether they have been previously infected. What is the Delta Plus variable? It is not usual for a virus to multiply and evolve as it spreads. Scientists have long cautioned that other worrisome variants can merge with new outbreaks. In India, resources observe a multiple separation from Delta and subline of viruses that double Delta Plus. While it has not yet been designed as a variable of concern by WHO or the CDC, case involving Delta Plus have been reported in 11 countries, including the United States. It is not yet clear how if the Delta Plus carries additional risk or is associated with increased transmission. Does the Delta variant cause more severe illness or symptoms? More researchers is needed, but there are indications that the Delta variant may cause more severe diseases. As a study published June 14th, the journal The Lancet examined the impact of the Delta variant in Scotland, where it had become the dominant strain. The researchers found that the risk of the hospitalization for COVID-19 was roughly double for a patient infected with the Delta compared with people infected with the Alpha variable. We're going to have another webinar. I see this right now. If, for comparisons, we looked at the original strand that the UK Alpha variable and now the Delta one was notice that there is difference in transmission as well as the potential of a dangerous outcome, said Dr. Aljan Prasad, the internal medication physician needed in Naples, Florida. So basically, ladies and gentlemen, we got some things going on with this Delta variable, and this is why we're talking about it on the platform today, because we didn't know what's going on, like for real. And what we need to understand is this virus is still out here, and most of you may have watched on the news last few months about how India had a lot of deaths because of this virus, and it just seeped on in the United States. They tried so hard to protect it, but I was like, you know what, this thing finna end up in here. And so behold, it creeped in here. It really creeped in here, and it's sad. It's just sad that we're still going through this. But we have the right team now that's going to really kind of nip it in the butt and not get out of hand. So just be careful, be very vigilant, and be very aware. So what I want to show you is, hold on. I'm making sure this video because it didn't skip along. Let me see if I can show this real quick. Y'all can see in the corner. Can I make it bigger? No. Look in the corner right here and read about some of the reports that have been going on here about this. I don't know. In fact, let me give me a minute, everybody. Oh, I did find a video. So I hope you can see this on my screen. I'm gonna find that in a minute. Let me take a look. Okay. Wasn't sure. This is a lot of information, ladies and gentlemen. You can come back and always watch the replay. I don't expect you to stay the whole entire time. And I'm trying to see if I can find this link. Ignore the commercials. Alright, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen. I'm going to get into the next slide. I know it's long, everybody, but it's world. Let me see what's going on. Thank you all for tuning in, for those who were watching. So now I'm going to go a little bit deeper on this. So we just went and looked at one part of it. So now we're going to look at COVID Delta variant symptoms spreading and what it looks like. I think I might have shared this already. All right. So the fast spread Delta COVID variant could have different symptoms, expert says. So here's some of the things that are being talked about, and I believe they got a video right here that may just go ahead and shut me down in terms of talking wise. I'm feeling kind of parched, so I'm kind of calm down a little bit. Yoo-hoo! I'm sorry, y'all. Very long-winded. Voice starting to crack.
Where can you find the most advanced neurological care? Right here. With a team of highly trained experts who take a personalized approach to each treatment. Experts in neurological care dedicated to you.
But what about people who are vaccinated?
Well, Chef, it's a great question, and I am concerned about the Delta variant. This is a variant of COVID-19 that is proving to be far more transmissible than any version of COVID that we've seen to date. The good news is that if you are vaccinated, you have a high degree of protection, particularly against hospitalizations and deaths. That's the good news. But the bad news is that if you are not vaccinated, again, you are at significant risk. So that is why I'm urging people to get vaccinated as quickly as you can. It's the safest way to keep yourself, your family, and your community safe from this virus.
The mRNA tests have come back very good against the Delta variant. What do we know about those who've taken Johnson & Johnson shots? Should they continue to wear masks with Delta spreading?
What we know, Chef, is yes, the mRNA vaccine has demonstrated that it's a high degree of efficacy, about 88% effective at protecting people against COVID-19 if they get both doses. I want to emphasize the both doses part because in this study they found that people who only got one dose had a markedly lower level of protection. As far as Johnson & Johnson goes, well, we're still awaiting direct study on Johnson & Johnson Delta variant. We have reasons to be hopeful because the J&J vaccine has proven to be quite effective against preventing hospitalizations and deaths with all the variants that we've seen to date. Also, the AstraZeneca vaccine, which is, you can think of it as a cousin to this vaccine built on a similar platform as J&J, also proved to be quite effective at preventing hospitalizations and death against the Delta variant. So more data to come there, but reason to be hopeful that you are well protected also if you had the J&J vaccine.
Officials at the World Health Organization and now some here in the United States are asking the vaccinated to wear masks indoors. Should they?
Well, here's what the science tells us, Chef. It tells us that if you are fully vaccinated, that's 2 weeks after your last dose of the vaccine, your chances of getting sick with COVID or transmitting it to others is low. It's a low risk. Now, it's nothing is zero risk, and there are some people who may decide if they're in an area that has a high degree of viral transmission or they're living at home with somebody who is unvaccinated, that they may want to wear a mask, and that's okay. The CDC in its guidance essentially was giving people flexibility and choice, but wanted people to know that if you are fully vaccinated, your risk of getting this virus or passing on is low, which is why it said masks are not required indoors or outdoors if you're fully vaccinated.
Doctor, Mr. Surgeon General, thank you so much for your time and for your service.
Thank you so much, Chef. Take care and stay safe.
All right, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen on this one. We are moving real swiftly with this broadcast. I have a few more things I'm going to start talking about, excuse me, about some, let's see. Some things. Let me see where we at. All right, so we done went through this link, so we're gonna go through the next one. Minus the big guy on the screen. So the CDC is leaving it up to states to set guidelines for mask wearing, director said. So basically what's going on, this is another video. I'm gonna be one happy sister because I'm kind of long-winded. I already looked at what he was saying. Yeah, we already looked at the video, what the guy's saying here. So basically what this article is saying is the CDC is leaving people up to states to set guidelines for mask wearing. So whatever your state recommends is what the guidelines should be. So they're making it optional if you want to wear a mask and if you don't want to wear a mask. That's what it's coming down to, ladies and gentlemen. So that's what this link is about. So the link is, in fact, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to share this. Once I get through this broadcast, all the links that I have talked about, I'm going to share that on the platforms, minus YouTube. But I'm going to actually, I might can share it on YouTube, but I'm going to share it all on the True Salt 21000 On Time Ministry, so you can go back and refer to what we talked about today on this broadcast, so you can get a better understanding of what this looks like. Okay? Moving right along. I'm trying not to be on too long. So it went over the 4th of July. We talked about the Delta variable, and now we're going to move into this link with Falcon. And it says Falcon doesn't think the CDC would change their mask recommendation. So basically what he's saying is, and I wish it was a video. Oh, yes. Is it? So basically what Falcon is saying is, as many United States continue to relax COVID-19 protocols, concerns are growing about the more contagious Delta variable. But while the World Health Organization encouraged people to keep wearing masks even if they're vaccinated, Dr. Falcon said it doesn't look like the Center for Disease Control and Prevention currently plans to change its guidelines. The CDC continually monitors the situation, and I'm sure would remain flexible, that if any changes are warned based on their involvement situation, they would then make a change in their recommendation. But right now it doesn't look like, Falcon said in an interview Wednesday on CBSN, it looks like they're going to continue to stay by their original recommendation. So here's a video here. I want to go back, and we're going to kind of go back and listen to what they're saying. They kind of give me insight what's going on. All right, I'm going to start it over again. It's 9 minutes, but it's worth every ounce of it to inform you all.
The Biden administration is allocating $3 billion to develop antiviral pills for COVID-19. And if all goes well, those pills could reportedly be ready as soon as the end of the year. This comes as the Delta variant, first detected in India, gains steam across the U.S. It also comes as the World Health Organization urges fully vaccinated people to continue wearing masks as a protection against this variant. For more, I am joined by Dr. Anthony Fauci. He is the chief medical advisor to President Biden. He also serves as the director of the U.S. National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. Dr. Fauci, welcome back to CBSN. It's great to see you. Tell us more about this antiviral pill and what it is ultimately designed to do.
Well, I better be careful to just respectfully correct one thing. It's not a pill. It's a program. It's a $3 billion program that is aimed at developing antiviral drugs, first and foremost for SARS-CoV-2, for the treatment of COVID-19, very similar to the drugs, the combination of drugs that we so successfully developed for HIV/AIDS, which has really transformed that disease, as well as the curative drugs that were developed for hepatitis. There are two components to it. And ultimately, and the reason I said it's not a single pill, because the program is directed first towards COVID-19, but the infrastructure and the investment that is being made will ultimately be able to be applied to developing antiviral drugs for a number of viruses of pandemic potential. There are two components to this program. One is the development of drugs that are already at some stage in the pipeline, to help develop them by clinical trials, by partnering in a public-private partnership with industry, and by any way that we can to push along drugs that are already in some stage of development. The second component is what we call discovery, where you really start from scratch and you look at the replication cycle, for example, of SARS-CoV-2, and you identify vulnerable targets in the virus replication cycle, and you specifically target and develop molecules that could potentially be used as drugs. So we foresee more than just a drug, a single drug, but a combination of drugs, similar to what we did, as I mentioned, so successfully with HIV decades ago and even up to the present time, as well as the highly successful drug development program against hepatitis C. So it really is a broad program that will last for years.
So are these drugs meant to be treatments then, once someone has already contracted the virus or a similar, viral infection, or are they also meant to be preventative?
Primarily, they are for treatment. See, what we know about COVID-19 is that when people initially get infected, many people can control the viral replication, which enters through the nasopharynx, the nose and the mouth. When the virus then goes beyond that and enters the lungs or else gets to other organs, then you get some of the catastrophic effects of this particular virus. So the main goal of the program is to develop an orally administered drug or combination of drugs that would primarily be used for early treatment to prevent the progression of the viral disease, to ultimately involve multiple organ systems and essentially suppress the virus right from the beginning. Ultimately, if that works, you might be able to use some of those drugs in what we call prophylaxis, namely to prevent someone who's been exposed to a person who's been infected, and the person who's exposed may be a vulnerable person, someone with an underlying condition that would make them at risk for severe outcome, or perhaps an elderly person, or someone who's compromised in their immune system. So bottom line, predominantly for treatment, but you could also use it likely in some circumstances for prevention.
And Dr. Fauci, we are obviously carefully monitoring the Delta variant here in the U.S. You have mentioned before that you've been worried about the widening gap here between vaccinated and unvaccinated America. What are your thoughts on that in relation to the Delta variant?
Well, I'm quite concerned because, first of all, the Delta variant has the capability of spreading much more efficiently from person to person. It also causes more severe disease. So there are two things about it that are troublesome. The good news about this is that the vaccines that are used in this country do very well against the Delta variant. For example, some of the ones that are used, the mRNA vaccines, are about 88% protective against symptomatic disease and well over 90% protective against severe disease that might require hospitalization. The problem is that the people who are unvaccinated are at significant risk of a virus that spreads so efficiently, which is the reason why we are out there asking people, almost pleading with them, if you're not vaccinated, please get vaccinated, because we have a highly effective countermeasure against this Delta variant, which is going to become much more dominant, particularly in those regions of the country, those states and cities and counties that are under-vaccinated. The under-vaccinated components of the country are going to be at significant risk, whereas those that are highly vaccinated would have a much, much diminished risk of getting infected.
And Dr. Fauci, I know we only have a minute or two left with you, but I would like you to weigh in quickly on the mask-wearing guidance. As you know, the World Health Organization has now suggested fully vaccinated people should continue to wear masks as added protection against the Delta variant. The CDC is standing firm on its guidance, saying vaccinated Americans do not need to wear masks. Where do you stand on this? And if the Delta variant continues to gain steam, do you think we could see a return to mask wearing even for those who are vaccinated?
Okay, all good questions. First of all, I think it's important for people to understand that the WHO is responsible for recommendations that involve the entire planet. And as a planet, the planet is under-vaccinated. There are only about 10% of the world are vaccinated. We are a well-vaccinated country for the most part, notwithstanding those pockets of low vaccination that I mentioned. So when WHO says you should wear a mask outdoors and indoors, even if you're vaccinated, that's because there's so much viral dynamics going on in the world. Some places have even less than 10% vaccinated. And so the vaccinated people are really in an environment of a high degree of virus, which increases the risk because no vaccine is 100% effective. And the more vaccine, the more virus that's around you, surrounding you in your environment, the greater risk you have of getting infected, whether or not you're vaccinated or not. So it is not comparable to look at what the WHO is recommending for the planet compared to what we in the United States, which have done generally quite well with vaccinations, why the CDC is remaining with their original recommendation that people who are vaccinated do not need to wear a mask indoor or outdoor. Having said that, the CDC continually monitors the situation, and I'm sure would remain flexible that if any changes are warranted based on the evolving situation, they would then make a change in their recommendation. But right now, it doesn't look that way. It looks like they're going to continue to stay by their original recommendation.
Dr. Anthony Fauci, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your time.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure being with you. Thank you for having me.
All right, everybody, we're going to stop sharing our screen. And now we're going to go into another part of this webinar. I showed a lot of content. I got a couple, I think I got one video I wanted to share with you all from my presentation. And I'm going to actually share this other link that I have because I want to get into the topic regarding about the hurricane that's out there in the ocean. Okay, I shared that one. So that one you can go back and refer. One of them you may not be able to look at. Let me see something. Give me a second. Let me see if I can repost it real quick. But we're finna get in. We're finna switch gears and we're finna get into the topic about Hurricane Elsa. I'm gonna share a little bit about that because the permission of time. I didn't got long. I didn't got my throat sore, like for real. No, I'm cool. It's just the fact when you talk a lot and read a lot, you get a little short-winded, and you gotta like tone it down a little bit. So, all right, let me pull this off of here. Let me see some. Just give me a few minutes, everybody. Let's see. Let me see. But I'm gonna come back and put the links that I didn't put on the chat for everyone to go back and refer to. To kind of just give yourself some informative information. I'm just putting the one last. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and re-put those back in there when I'm done with the broadcast for the 4th of July. Things, but I put a lot of stuff about the Delta variable and whatnot. So now we're switching gears and we're going to go into the conversation regarding the hurricane that's out there in the ocean, everybody. Okay, so go ahead and share my screen. Oh no, I'm going to start the video, then we'll get to that. Sorry, everybody. So I'm going to share this quick video with you all real quick that I wanted to share with you all to give you an insight before we get into it.
So, it's not the news that Melbourne wanted as it now enters a second week locked down. This outbreak, thought to have been seeded by one hotel quarantine escape, turns out to have a second seed. And this one is a strain different to the one that everyone else in the state has. It's the Delta variant, first identified in India. It's one of two variants being watched that originated there. The other one is called Kappa. Delta is regarded as the bigger threat. It's been designated a variant of concern by the WHO. It's more transmissible than the Alpha variant, first found in the United Kingdom, and the evidence from England suggests there's a small drop in vaccine effectiveness, especially for someone who's only had one dose. The Delta strain of coronavirus has now been found in more than 60 countries around the world, thought to be contributing to a number of hotspots around Asia, and of course in India it quickly became primary variant of SARS-CoV-2. It's also now the dominant variant of coronavirus being found in the United Kingdom, and public health authorities there say there's early evidence that it could actually bring with it an increased risk of hospitalisation as well. The government there is worried that this strain could derail plans for them to lift lockdowns later this month.
All right, everybody, I'm back. That was a quick, minus this thing over here. But yeah, that was a quick presentation regarding that matter. So I gave you all the information I wanted to share with you on this particular broadcast today. I'm actually working on trying to get the information for the 4th of July safety tips on here, so that way I don't have to come back on later on to do it. So bear with me for just a few moments while I get this all resolved. I hope the information that was shared with you today, ladies and gentlemen, was very informative and very well put out, because it's a lot of information, everybody. It's a lot. And this information that I'm sharing with you, it's going to give you a lot of insight about what's really going on in the world. And just pay attention to the news and the tabloids and whatnot, and just be very vigilant by the things that you may see, because we are in trying times. We are. We don't want to admit to it, but we really are. And I actually found the link that I was actually supposed to share, so I'm going to go ahead and share that one on the platform too, as well, everybody. So I want to make sure you got all the links, so that way you can go back and refer to it. For those who want to look at the webinar later on today, or even in the late wee night hours. So let me see. Let me go ahead and share this one here. I believe I might have did this one. I'm not sure, but it's going to be in the comment section again, because I had a lot of links that I shared. Because you may want to go back to refer to it or share it with a friend or family. I have no problem with that, everybody. Everybody needs to know the information. CDC is a good website. Watching some of the local stuff just to basically get information about what's really going on. But I recommend don't spend too much time on that. It'll drive you nuts. So let me share this one last thing with everybody real quick. Hold on. Alright, I think this link will pop up. Okay. Alright, presentation done. That one's done. So now we're going to talk about Hurricane Elsa. That's been a top commodity. So I'm here right here on the website, and they're going to show a little video of what's going on.
Homeowners, this incredible tip is just for you. If you owe less than $331,000...
What we know is that we've got winds of 75 miles an hour. It's a Category 1 in the Saffir-Simpson scale. It is on the move and doing so at a pretty quick rate of 31 miles per hour. You see the location there, 190 miles east-southeast of the Dominican Republic, and this thing is just cruising, light convection out there. Now, a couple things I've got to tell you is as this makes its way through and around the islands, we're going to see some fluctuations in power. The reason why is because it's going to be way, at times, from its primary power source, that being a warm tropical water, but at the same time, anytime it skips across a landmass, say for example Haiti or Cuba, it can disrupt a bit of the flow, and the structure can be hampered, and that may happen. But we're going to also see it possibly move north of Cuba into the Straits of Florida, where you've got very warm water waiting for it. And again, that is jet fuel. Now, this will fuel some thought to you. In the Dominican Republic and spots, we do have tropical storm watches, some tropical storm warnings. In fact, Cayman's also at this hour. But all these locations, especially high elevation, it is a guarantee we're going to have some heavy rain in places. And with orographic lifts, some of this could cause some flooding, possibly mudslides in these locations. What we know is that we've got winds of 75 miles an hour. It's a Category 1 on the Saffir-Simpson scale. It is on the move and doing so at a pretty quick rate of 31 miles per hour. You see the location there, 190 miles east-southeast of the Dominican Republic, and this thing is just cruising. A lot of convection out there. Now, a couple things I'm going to tell you is as this makes its way through and around the islands, we're going to see some fluctuations.
Like you said, this already like second
at times, from its primary power source, that being warm tropical water. But at the same time, anytime it skips across a landmass, say for example Haiti or Cuba, it can disrupt a bit of the flow, and the structure can be hampered, and that may happen. But we're going to also see it possibly move north of Cuba into the Straits of Florida, where you've got very warm water waiting for it. And again, that is jet fuel. Now, this will fuel some thought to you in the Dominican.
We repeated, yeah, I know, because I thought it was talking about a different advisory. So basically, it's talking about Hurricane Elsa. It's speeding through the Caribbean and giving you some updates. So we're going to kind of get into it, and here's another current satellite of it at 8:40 was 9:07 now Eastern Standard Time. So this is what it looks like right now, everybody. It's the current satellite in Winfield here, where it's at here, and then it's basically giving you an insight. And now it's giving you another forecast at 8 a.m., which was about an hour ago. And it's basically showing you where it's at and how it's, you know, it's highlighting. And then you see the different codes. They got hurricane warning, tropical storm warning, hurricane watch, and tropical storm warning, and just basically highlighting these. So with the red is like the tropical storm warning, and the yellow is like tropical storm warning, the orange is hurricane watch, and then in the purple is a hurricane warning. So they're giving you pinpoints of what that looks like. So just pay close attention, everybody, this weekend about where the hurricane is going, and just get yourself mentally prepared. I'm not trying to scare anybody or freak anybody out, but just be prepared. That's all I want to say with that. So it's showing the projection of what it looks like it's going to do. And then they're talking about the rain forecast through Tuesday. So it's giving you an illustration of what we're about to experience, everybody. So I wanted to share that quickly on the platform today. All right, everybody, have an amazing and a blessed 4th of July. I'll be back on tomorrow for Sunday service on the True Salt 1000, YouTube on time, as well as Instagram, True Salt 1000. The message entitled, ladies, is give yourself a pat on the back. We'll be in the book of Matthew, chapter 13, verse 10. And hold on, I don't want to give you the wrong information. We'll be in the book Matthew chapter 13, verse 10 through 34. So that'll be this week's message for the 4th, and then next Sunday we'll be back in the book of Matthew chapter 18, verse 18 and 23. Have an amazing and a blessed Saturday. Be safe out there. Take care of yours, and I love you all, and I'll talk to you tomorrow at 9 a.m. See y'all later.